Save your time, save your money. Welcome to Rotten Real Roll. I'm Sinmin. Today, we're discussing the recent release movie, The Creator. Honestly, I wasn't particularly interested in this film at first. In a world where even ChatGPT can engage in heated debates during voice chats, riding the AI wave for popularity seems unexciting. Just last month, I watched Korean movie Yoongi, Gal Gadot's Heart of Stone, and Guy Ritchie's Operation Fortune. Two common factors among these three films all involve AI elements and are, well, terrible. This made me instinctively resent AI-themed movies of recent years. After all, in the realm of science fiction, surpassing classics like Terminator, artificial intelligence, or a robot with fresh perspectives on AI-human relations is no small feat. However, The Creator surprisingly scores 7.2 on IMDb. This puzzled me because it's seemingly the highest-rated movie among recent releases, even surpassing the well-received Ju-on. So, I decided to check it out at the cinema. And after more than 2 hours in the movie theater, I had the thoughts. First, Hollywood is dead. Second, if the production company had renamed this movie All Lives Matter, the box office would have at least doubled or tripled. Next, I'll explain why, and at the end, I'll provide my rating and viewing recommendation. First, let's go over the main plot. The story is set in the future, 2055, much like Terminator. Artificial intelligence has boomed and indirectly controls all aspects of human life. The world is divided into two major camps, the United States and New Asia, which consists of a mix of countries like Japan, Nepal, Indonesia, and Thailand. Oddly enough, China seems to have vanished from this world, possibly to avoid protests over how it's portrayed. The main reason for the conflict between these two camps is an ideological difference. New Asia believes that robots, like humans, have genuine emotions and allows coexistence with AI. The United States, on the other hand, views robots as mere machines and a threat to humanity. Disaster strikes on Judgment Day when a nuclear bomb hits LA. The United States sees this as AI declaring war on humanity, initiates a domestic ban on AI, and labels it an enemy. They deploy a space vessel called Nomad equipped with precision weapons, capable of striking anywhere on Earth to destroy AI rebels and their bases. Enter the protagonist, John Washington. He accepts a mission from the US military to infiltrate the heart of New Asia's AI community, hoping to find his possibly still alive wife. However, he stumbles upon a humanoid robot kid. From this point on, the movie becomes a mix of modern apocalypse and Leon. While rescuing the robot kid, the male lead discovers the sinister and cruel side of the US government. The so-called AI nuking humanity narrative turns out to be a lie. In the end, he joins forces with the enemy to fight against the West, brings down the Nomad, and delivers a happy ending.
How about ice cream?
Does this story sound familiar? Yes, you can spot shadows of too many past films in it. This is disheartening because it means that since the end of the Vietnam War, Hollywood hasn't managed to develop new narratives and similar themes. They've essentially retold the same story 100 times. In the past 30 years, they've told this story, and we've seen Modern Apocalypse, Platoon, The Deer Hunter, and Dances with Wolves. More recently, they told it in Avatar. Because they've told it too many times, ordinary viewers are well-versed in these tired cliches. For instance, when the protagonist is on a mission for the US government, you already know the main antagonist will be a government bureaucrat or a military officer.
Terminate the colonel. He's out there operating without any decent restraint, totally beyond the pale of any acceptable.
The colonized people, accused of being antagonists, are usually the good guys. US soldiers are typically portrayed as ruthless, often massacring civilians and children, even sparing no pet dogs. Sometimes, they even commit rape against colonized women. As for the US government, aside from lying to the protagonist, they either secretly develop world-ending weapons or conduct human experiments. Or, like in the Suicide Squad.
We'll see. You have a visitor.
They use the protagonist's family as leverage to force obedience. Ultimately, the heroes become like Snowden or Assange, exposing the ugliness of the US government. In these scripts, the protagonist is usually a black person. Gender doesn't matter, but the spouse should be white. Of course, it can be the other way around, a white protagonist with a black spouse. But there should never be an Asian in the protagonist couple because Asians are relegated to pseudetics. The main antagonist, 100% of the time, is a cunning, hypocritical, and cruel white middle-aged man. They are never LGBTQ or transgender individuals, since these characters must play the role of righteous warriors. In contrast, this movie nearly perfectly adheres to these stereotypes. A black male lead, his white wife, an evil US government, an Asian single mother.
How about ice cream?
As for the robot girl, she represents cross-species individuals, a vulnerable group. You can even see white US soldiers using a child's pet dog to extract information, which made me start to doubt whether the Hollywood screenwriters' strike had any real impact. Just recharge ChatGPT with a $20 month plus membership, input the script of Avatar, and add a few keywords like AI and anti-war. You'll have a new script in 5 minutes. After the script is done, you won't even need the Democratic Party's censorship committee to review it, as ChatGPT will be even more diligent than you in checking it. In this regard, you can always trust Silicon Valley's high-tech companies. In this story, AI doesn't matter at all. Why they ponder the world after death, why they develop their own religion, these aren't questions to explore. AI is just a shell. As for the so-called New Asia, it doesn't matter what it's like. It just needs to fit the politically correct but imaginative vision of white people. Even in the AI age, it remains the same ancient, mysterious, backward East, suitable for learning kung fu and yoga. The lifestyle here must resemble pre-agricultural times, and the local people must be simple, kind, and weak, greeting each other with folded hands, all Buddhist. In the prototype templates of the screenwriters, AI represents Native Americans during colonial times, Vietnamese during the Vietnam War, refugees pouring in from Mexico, or even today's LGBTQ individuals. That nuclear bomb that struck US is just a replay of 9/11s, with the only difference being that it's the US government's own doing. The programmer who caused the nuclear bomb to explode due to a code error is most likely a straight white male. As for the idealistic and pure New Asia, it has nothing to do with China, Japan, or Southeast Asia. It's merely the discrimination-free paradise in the minds of the Democratic Party and leftists. The problem is when you can use a template to write a script, when you can guess the hero and villain based on their skin color and sexual orientation, when you can predict the entire plot from the world building. How many viewers will be captivated by such stories? There was a time when we mocked China's film censorship for destroying the imagination and potential of their movies. Today, the same thing has been happening in the United States repeatedly. A movie's every element is predetermined before shooting begins. Where is the potential in Hollywood? I remember a producer who worked on the Star Wars series once said in an interview about the influx of garbage films in Hollywood. What the audience needs is entertainment, not education in the cinema. For today's young viewers, we had to learn the history of the rainbow flag in primary school when we were 8. Study AC-130 gunship attacks over the Ho Chi Minh Trail in history class. And in college, we were told, you can't get into your desired university because we need to maintain diversity. It's already exhausting. Now, I have to pay $10 to go to the cinema to watch your equality education class? I might as well wait for some Democratic congressional candidate to come to my house for a campaign visit. At least it's free, one-on-one, and delivered to my doorstep. No offense, I absolutely support equality, but treating people equally, respecting the rights of every group, and the constant need in every movie to preach you this great lesson through some story are two different things. Finally, let me give you my conclusion. If you're hoping for a stunning sci-fi masterpiece that truly deserves a 7-point rating, you might be disappointed. But if you go in with a relaxed mindset just looking for a fun movie, then this film, with an actual score of around 6.4, is worth a watch. Despite some inconsistencies in its world building, New Asia's mixed style is still fresh and interesting. Although the budget was only $80 million, the special effects are top-notch, possibly due to the director's background in visual effects. Furthermore, despite the lack of depth, the pacing and performances don't have any major flaws. But speaking of which, if you're just looking for some excitement, why not turn around and watch Saw X Next Door? There, all you need is to pump some adrenaline. You see, while audiences may not be able to resist what Hollywood producers decide to make, they can vote with their movie tickets. In its first week, the creator ranked only 3rd in North American box office receipts, almost certain to incur losses. If they're so eager to teach lessons in movies, let's give them a lesson with our box office receipts. Well, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share our video. And don't forget to ring the bell for updates, so that YouTube's algorithm can better recommend our channel. See ya!